Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of Python programming. In last session, we have started a new topic which is statement flow control. So basically we have seen that how the statements or control flow can be understand, or you can design your own statement flow control according to your requirement or code. So in this session we are going to see the second type of statement flow control. The first type was the conditional statement. Okay, and in that type we have seen the if else part, and also if else part. Okay, so in that conditional statement we studied that we are going to see particular condition, we are going to put particular condition, and if that condition is true or satisfied, then only we are entering in the block of code of that condition, and then we are going to execute the statements inside that block. Okay, second type of statement flow control is the looping statement control. Looping statements. Now what is meant by looping? It is also called as an iterative or iteration based statement. Now looping means in particular code or program you need to execute specific set of instructions repeatedly. Okay, so you are going to execute the same statements again and again till you achieve that particular result. Okay, so for how many times you are going to execute those statements, right? That is the loop. Now this is also a uh, block type of code or statements in which we are creating the block, that is called as a looping block. Okay, so here also we are putting some condition or count to explain or to tell the user how many times that block of code or those certain instructions are going to be executed. Okay, there are basically two categories for the looping statement. First is the count based. Count based means to specify the count, how many times we are going to execute that code or set of instruction, for how many times. So you are deciding count in that, right? You are specifying count. The example of count based statement flow control is the for loop. For, if you already have the programming language, if you have studied another programming languages, then you must be familiar with the for loop, because it exists in every programming language, because we need to repeat the instructions as many times as we want. So here count based, when we are setting the count value for the specific instruction. Second is the conditional based. Condition based. Here in this category we are putting some condition. Okay, and as long as that condition is true, your block of code, inside that block whatever code or instruction you have written, those instructions will be executed repeatedly till the condition is true. When the condition is false, then you are automatically taking exit from the loop or that block, and you are coming to the main program. The example for condition based statement is the while loop. Now these both statements create loop, but it depends on the user or you that are you putting the count based instruction or condition based instruction. It's totally up to you. And we have seen the if else part, which is also a condition based statement. Okay, but it doesn't create a loop, it only specifies that which code will be executed. So in this lecture we are going to see both loop in detail. First we are going to see the for loop. Now for loop, as we have discussed, that is the count based. So we are putting a count in some manner. Okay, you can put the number that till that number you need to execute, till you reach that number you need to execute the instructions or code, or you can put a sequence or a range that between this number to this number you are, if the condition is true, then you are going to execute the certain block of code. Now the syntax for loop, first you need to understand the syntax. Syntax is very important, though it looks very easy, especially for those who are already in the programming, means they are learning the different language, but still syntax is very important, because if you miss any of the character, any of the value, you will get an error. So you need to be very careful with the syntax for all these statements. Now how to write the for loop? First of all, for is the keyword. You need to write down the keyword first, for, as it is in the small case. Then here you need to take the variable. Any variable you can take. This is the user defined. This is the user defined variable. So any variable you can take. Then in also keyword. Also this is the keyword again, and then sequence. You need to mention the sequence. Now what is the sequence? I'll write it down again. So for variable, any type of variable in sequence. Now why did I write down this in this bracket? Why? Because this is user defined. Okay, these are compulsory keywords that you need to mention as it is. But here variable name and sequence are totally user defined. You can take any variable in any sequence you want. So that's why it is in the bracket, so you can change it. And at the end of the statement, just like your if else statement, you can end the for statement with colon. And you already know that whenever we end any statement with colon, we are creating block, indentation block. That means after pressing enter after the colon, your pointer will start from the one tab in the second line. Okay, so here after pressing the enter, by default your cursor will not start from here. It will start from after one tab space or four spaces. So 1 2 3 4, your next line will begin with this pointer, means from this. Okay, so this is mean by indentation. So using for loop also you are creating one indentation block. That means here if the variable is in sequence, if it is in sequence, then only you are entering in the block, otherwise no. So here statements, now whichever code you are going to execute, that code will be printed here. So here statements. Okay, statements. So after entering this block of code, then these statements will be executed. Now what is the significance of this? You may means I have told you that this is the counting loop. So you are going to count here that how many times they are going to be executed. But inside there is a condition also. This variable value should be in the sequence. Otherwise, means that is your condition. That condition should be true. Otherwise you can't enter in the block of code. Now let's see the example first. Here for keyword, for. Now you can take any variable you want. We prefer I or j value because it stands for the index variable. So for I, okay, in keyword as it is, this is my variable and this is the keyword. Now I can take any sequence I want. So here I am taking a list. Now list is the data structure in Python, which we are going to see in further session. For now I am taking just one example for understanding purpose, but after that we are going to see in detail. So list means the set of values, any kind of values you can take. So here I am taking the list and I am taking the values here. Suppose 2, 4, 6, 8. There are four values. There are four values inside the list. So this is my sequence and I am checking that I value is inside the list or not. Okay. Colon. Okay. I am ending it with colon so that your indentation block will be started, and then here my statement will be there. So my statement will be print, and I am going to print the I value only. Suppose I am going to print the I value. Now here in this case, I in this sequence, okay, the inside information of for loop is whichever variable you are taking, you are setting that variable value for a certain value, okay, most probably with the zeroth value. Okay, so here in the hidden I is equal to 0. Okay, and here in this list also there are four values, 2, 4, 6, 8. Four values are there. Here also we start with the zeroth index, which is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3 are my index value. I in this. So my condition is, as long as I is inside this index value, you are going to enter in the indentation block and you are printing the I value. Okay, so here first I am going to initialize, means not me, but inside the system understands that I value is 0, right? Okay, so while executing, what happens that first I am going to, means the system is going to initialize the I value as 0. It starts with the 0. Okay, so for I in here 0 value means this. Okay, is the I value fits into this list? Yes, because 0 exists, right? So for I in this 0, I value is 0. So yes, the condition is true. So if the condition is true, we are going to enter in the indentation block and we are printing the I value. Now here 0, at the 0th position, your I value is 2. Okay, so in the output, first your output will be 2. Okay, after that, now another concept which is very important, after one time execution, means here once your condition is fulfilled, you are executing this print statement for once. After that your pointer will be returning for the for loop or that for statement again, because it's a loop. It will be continued till this condition is true. So after going to the for loop, I value will be automatically incremented by 1. It is by default. Okay, in Python, whenever you are using the for loop, whichever variable you are taking, initially if you don't set any initial value, it always start with 0 and it ends with the last value, upper limit. Okay, so here first I value was 0. Now after that I value will be incremented. By default I value will be incremented by 1. First it was 0, now it is 1. Okay, now again we are checking the condition. For I, which is 1, in sequence, is it 1? Is 1 inside this? Yes, it exists. because that index value variable is there. So this condition is true. That's why again we are entering in the indentation block and we are executing this statement print I. Okay, so we are printing the I value in the next line. At the first index, one index value, your value is 4. So here in your output window 4 will be printed. Now after printing 4, again our pointer will go back to the for loop. Now by default your I value will be incremented by 1 again. It was 1, so after this it will be 2. Now is 2 exist in this sequence? Yes, it exists. It is here, right? So this condition is true. You are going inside in the indentation block and then you are again printing the I value. At index 2 your value is 6. So in the output you are printing 6. Okay, after printing 6, again your pointer will go back to the for statement. Now I value is 3. It was 2 before, now it is 3. Is 3 exist in this sequence? Yes, it exists, right? So here the condition is true. We are going inside the block. We are printing the I value, ith value, which is 8. It is printed. Now after printing this, again we are going back to the for loop. Now here is the ending part. By default, I value will be 4 now because it is incremented by 1. It is 4 now. But does 4 exist in this sequence? No. 0, 1, 2, 3, end. 4 doesn't exist in this sequence. So your condition is false in this case. You are this statement now not satisfying your condition. So you are not entering in the block and you are not printing anything. So after print statement, whatever statements starts from here, from the main program, the pointer will go directly here because this condition is false now. Till your condition was true, you were executing the statement inside the block. Now your condition is false. Your pointer will go directly to the next statement, not inside the block. Okay, so what is the significance or use of this? You are calling or you are executing this print I for different values again and again. That is the repetitive loop. This is the loop, right? This is the loop. So you are printing, you are giving the value and you are printing the different values each time, but you are calling the same statement, right? Suppose you don't use the for loop. Okay, if you are not using for loop and you want to display the values in the output window, you might need to use this print statement 4 times, right? But because of the for loop, your time and effort will be saved and repeatedly you are going to print this statement for 4 times. So that is the use of looping statement. You can create the loop. Okay, and this is the counting, means indirectly you have set the counter that 4 times your print statement will be executed because there are 4 values inside the list. So that's why it is called as a count statement. Now we are going to see one specific function, predefined function in Python, which is used for the for loop, in the for loop, range function. Now just like your input function, print function or integer function which we have seen in last session, just like that, range is the predefined or we can call as a built-in function in Python to specify the range between two values, between two numbers. So as I mentioned before that in for loop we are going to mention the counting value, right? So for how many count, for how many numbers your statements are going to be executed. This range function specifies the same thing, but the difference is we are free to specify any range we want. So how to use this range function inside the for loop? Range is basically a sequence. So in the part of sequence, that location, you can use the range function. Now syntax for range, it same as the for loop. Your for keyword, okay, variable name, any variable you can take, okay, in keyword, and range function to specify the range. Now this range function should not be blank, should not be empty, because you are going to specify the range. So here in this range function, you are mentioning the start value and end value, that in between those value your range will be specified. So suppose I will give the start value is 0 and end value is suppose 5. Okay, that I am going to specify, colon, and then these statements will be printed. Here also you are creating the indentation block, and after this colon, after one tab space, your statements will be executed. So basically when you take the range function, your range function syntax will be start value and end value. Okay, and one more value is the step value, which we will see in the example. Start, end and step. Now here any one value, any one, this here if we are going to mention the range, then between that range count will be set and you can execute the statements. But in some type of data structure such as list or tuple, which we are going to see, here range value, the start and end will be optional. If you don't give the start value, it will automatically start by 0, and if you don't give the end value, it will be automatically end with the end value. But I will explain that part by using any specific example. For now we will consider, or we will see basic example of range function. Okay, here you can start, you can call it as a lower limit and upper limit also. Okay, let's take the example of range function in for loop. Here in the code, first I will take one variable which has value, suppose 2, num is equal to 2. Okay, then I will use the for loop because I want to perform certain operation repeatedly. So for, suppose I will take I, or I will take the another variable, suppose a, because you can take the any other variable. For a in range, a is the variable, okay, index value in range function. Here in this range function I am putting the lower limit and upper limit. Now suppose I am putting the lower limit as 0 and I am putting the upper limit as 6. Okay, so this is my start value, this is my end value, lower limit, upper limit. I am creating the indentation block, and inside this block I will write down the statement print. Now what I am going to do, that I am going to multiply this number with every other value between 2 and 6. Okay, so 0 to 6, 2 is the number, constant number that you are taking, and you are going to multiply this 2 between all the numbers between 0 and 6. So this is the range we are providing. Okay, here, so print, so I am going to print one statement only for now. Print, my number will be only value, this value will be displayed here, and after that just it is a multiplication symbol, so multiply will be printed as it is. Okay, this number will be multiplied by a, and a value will be changed from 0 to 6. So a, I am not putting in the this a in the single quote, because then it will be considered as string and it will be displayed as it is. Then equal to sign will be printed as it is, and after that just formula. What is the formula? Num value, num, and formula is, because for multiplication we are using the multiplication sign like this, operator, multiplication operator, and a value, whichever a value will be, that will be displayed, and this will be printed. Okay, so here num, understand the statement num without any code, because you are printing the value of num, which is 2, constant. Then this is only a sign to understand the statement, comma, a, again not a but the value of a, which will keep changing, equal to will be displayed as it is, and then your formula num into a. The multiplication will be done and the output will be printed. So we are going to see how this will be executed and what will be the output. So in the output part, first of all, what will happen, your number is equal to 2 will be taken. Then for a in range 0 to 6, okay, so a's initial value is 0. A's initial value is 0. Okay, you are starting with 0. If I write down like 1 comma 6, then a's initial value will be 1, not 0. Here I am taking the a's initial value as 0, so now a is 0. Now condition is a in this sequence, in this range? Yes, 0 is between 0 to 6, right? It is there, so condition is true. We are entering in this indentation block and we are printing. First of all, the statement will be num. What is the num? 2. 2. Multiplication sign will be printed as it is. Value of a. Value of a is 0 right now, so that will be printed here. Equal to will be printed as it is, and we are performing the multiplication num into a. Num is your 2, a value is 0, 2 into 0, 0. This will be your output for the first time. After that, after printing this value, your pointer will go again to the for statement. Okay, after that your a value will be incremented by 1. First it was 0, now by default it will be incremented by 1, and now your a value is 1, right? Is 1 between 0 to 6? Yes, it is between 0 to 6. So the condition is true and you are going inside the loop. Then again you are printing. What is num value? 2. On the next line, num value is 2. This is as it is. A is now 1. 1. Equal to, perform the multiplication, 2 into 1, 2. Right? Again after this go for the for statement. Now a value will be incremented by 1. Now a is 2. Right? A is 2. It's 2 between 0 to 6? Yes. Condition is true. We are going inside. Num is 2 into a value is 2 now. 2 into 2, 4. Okay. After printing this, again go to the for statement. Now a value is 3. Is 3 between 0 to 6? Yes. Go inside. Num is 2. A is 3. Okay. Multiplication is 6. Right. Then go for the for statement. Now a value was 3. Now it is 4. Is 4 between 0 to 6? Yes. go inside, print this, print number is 2 into a value is 4, 8. Okay, now go for the for loop. Now a value is 5. It's 5 between 0 to 6. Yes, go inside, print num into 5, 10. Right, after this go. Now again the tricky part, whenever now a value is 6, it will be incremented by 1. A value is 6. In the for loop we don't consider the upper limit, we cancel it out. Okay, so you are taking one number before your upper limit, that is the rule. So if your upper limit is 6, you are not consider the 6, you will consider the 5. Okay, now here when a is equal to 6 is there, 0 to 6, though 6 is a part of your range, it won't be considered because it's the end value. So technically when this condition is true, when this value is there, then this condition will be false. You are not satisfying this condition and you are not getting inside in the for loop. Okay, so you are not getting inside and your output will be like this. So here, and technically when you consider 0 to 6, 6 values should be there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These values are there. You are starting with 0, 0 will be taken, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you get to 6, you are cancelling it out. You are not considering the end limit. And this will be your final output. Okay, so here also basically we have created the table of 2 here. Okay, there are only 6 values, but this will be more useful when you need to execute the statements for multiple times. Suppose for 100 times you are going to print. So if you don't use the for loop or any kind of looping statement, you need to execute or you need to write down the code for the 100 times to get the certain output. Okay, to avoid such situation we are using the looping statement in any programming language. So this is your for loop. Again, like if else part, there are several types of for loops also, like for within for, means if you are taking the two values for certain kind of application, that also I will be explaining in the example part. Okay, so this is your for loop. The second type of the looping statement is the condition based statement, and the example is while loop. Okay, in the while loop it also works like the for loop, but here we are specifying the condition instead of count, and sometimes it acts like the count also, but the condition is more. Now what is the syntax of while loop? While keyword. Okay, here you are writing down the condition or expression. So here logical expression or condition. Okay, any condition you can take. Like for loop, this statement also ends with colon. Okay, and after this statements which are executing. Statements or block of code. So while this logical expression or condition, we are putting the condition here. If the condition is true, then only we are going to enter in the block or statement. If this condition is false, we are not getting inside. Okay, let's take the example of while loop. One simple example we will take. Here, first I am taking one value. Suppose a is equal to 5. This is my value. Now I am starting my while loop. While now, as long as your A, this bracket is optional, you can remove the bracket. As long as your A value is greater than 0, you are printing that value. Okay, this is your condition. So while A is greater than 0, colon. Okay, then after that your block of code will start. Then print statement, print. Okay, value in double quote or single quote, value of A is A. As long as A value is greater than 0, you are executing this statement. But now, what is it could lead to the infinite loop, because this value will be constant. Unlike for loop, where in for loop the value of A is automatically incremented, not decremented, incremented. Here this is not happening. You need to put the increment or decrement condition. Whatever, otherwise it could lead to the infinite loop, because this is the constant value and it always satisfied. A is always 5, A is always greater than 0. So for infinite time, the value of A will be printed, and we don't want that. So we need to change this A value with certain expression. So here I am using the expression like, suppose A is equal to A minus 3. I am decrementing the A value, or suppose I am taking A's value as 2. Okay, so A equal to A minus 2. I am changing the value of A, right? After that changing, again the pointer will go to the for loop. Okay, till this condition is true. If this condition is false, these two statements won't be executed. We are taking the exit from the while loop, and then we are printing here in the main program. In the main program, print loop over. Okay, loop over. Now let's see the output for this program. Now A value is, initially A value is 5, right? We are checking the condition while A is greater than 0. Is 5 greater than 0? Yes, it is greater than 0. So we are going inside the block. We are printing value of A is A, right? So first line of our output is value of A is colon. What is the value of A? 5. This is the first statement of our code. After that, we are decrementing the value by 2. A equal to A minus 2. A equal to A's value is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So here 3 is there. Now first A value was 5. Now after performing this expression, A value is 3, right? We are going to the while statement. Again we are checking the same condition, while A is greater than 0. Okay, so A is greater than 0. Is 3 greater than 0? Yes, the condition is true. We are going inside, we are printing value of A is, now print the current value of A. So again our second statement will be value of A is, what is the value of A? 3. Print it. Go down. Now A equal to A minus 2. A's value is 3. Minus 2, 1. Now A's value is 1 now. Right? We have performed the calculation. We are going here. While A is greater than 0. Is 1 greater than 0? Yes, the condition is true. We are going inside and we are printing the current value of A. value of a is 1. Okay, then after that a is equal to a minus 2. Now current value is 1. We are performing 1 minus 2, which is minus 1. Right, now your a value is minus 1. Go to the while statement. While a is greater than 0. Now a is minus 1. That means a is not greater than 0. A is less than 0. Right. So here your condition is not satisfied. It is false. We are not going inside the loop. So these two statements inside the while loop will not be printed, and our pointer will go to here, our main program, and we are printing loop over. So our last line will be loop over. Okay, so this is the while loop where we are putting the condition. If this condition is true, then only we are getting inside the while loop. Otherwise, we are taking the exit from the while loop. So these two statements, for loop and while loop, are your looping statement in the Python.